Hey, so, this is one of those videos, I have an opinion about something and I want to say it, but it's something that I think about every year around this time because that's when it happened. If you haven't guessed by now, I am talking about 9/11, which, yes, I know happened 2 years and 352 days ago, 3 days ago. And it just, every year, the past few years or so, I've watched, the TV specials, and it just, of course it gets you every time. They're not just, there's 3,000 people. Well, 2,983, but it's close enough to 3,000, but I know there's a million other videos like this about somebody reacting to 9/11 and how it is, but this maybe isn't for the viewers. If a bunch of people watch it, whatever, I don't care. This isn't for viewership. I just needed to get this out on camera to a place where people could see it. But it baffles me that any one person or a group of people could hate another group of people so much that they would do things like that. And what some people, I don't know, obviously at the time a lot of people didn't know or they forgot, but some people forget that it wasn't just the Twin Towers in New York. It was the Pentagon in, I'm going to get this wrong. It's in Virginia somewhere, but, and another flight where the flight of people, they had their flight hijacked. They were on their way to somewhere. They got over a rural area. They were on their way to the U.S. state capitol. The plane was, anyway, the hijackers had routed it there. And these everyday people from all these different walks of life put their lives on the line to prevent that plane from going into the U.S. State Capitol building. And, they did. And everybody on that flight, as far as the program I just finished watching, they did die. And, but 9/11, I think what it is with, natural disasters, terrorist attacks, any kind of attack, if nothing else, you can say that it brings people together. And, yeah, I am gonna cry. But so many everyday people, along with firefighters or anything else, so many everyday people were heroes that day. And so many everyday people did everything they could and thought of other people too. And some before themselves. And that is amazing. And of course, the firefighters and everything, they made decisions that I could not dream of having to make. But one little story in the special I watched was this, a man wearing a yarmulke with a curly hair and a beard. Yes, he was Jewish. This isn't a stereotype. Obviously he was wearing the yarmulke, but he was Jewish. And there was a Muslim man, and he was not an extremist like Al-Qaeda and that group. And but he was a victim, or an intended one. and he did survive. But the Jewish man said to him, "Come on, my brother, let's go," because he had fallen down. And that just, I mean, you're going to hear this message again. I'm sure you've heard it all your life, and big YouTubers, little YouTubers, all of us have said it, and anybody has said it, but it doesn't matter who you are. We are all loved, and we are all here for a reason. And I think that maybe somewhere when it started, Al-Qaeda thought they had their right. They thought they were doing something sanctioned by God, but they weren't. And I'd love to think that they know that now, but it's done. And, you know, I mean, obviously May 1st of this year, a lot of people were like, oh no, they didn't get him, but they did everything they could to make sure, and they did. And I've been talking for 6 minutes now, but Osama bin Laden is dead, but it is in no means over, unfortunately. I mean, it's obviously not the same thing because it's a religious group. They don't rule the country exactly. But it's kind of like when one of our presidents dies or gets assassinated, which most of them that died got assassinated. Well, no, that's not true. But when one of our presidents died, our whole system doesn't collapse. One person doesn't make the army, which is, I'm thankful that our society is that way, because if we let one person destroy an entire group of people, then what kind of people are we? Again, I don't feel any mercy if you've already skipped to this point, or past this point, or whatever, but I needed to say it to something, and nobody's home, so I figured, let's talk to a camera and not ourselves or something. So, it's just something I wanted to say right now, and I actually managed not to cry, but I definitely will within the next few days, about 9/11, because it's just, yeah, it's sad, and it just shows how strong that people are, in maybe not even physically or whatever, or mentally, but how strong they are in themselves and in spirit and humanity, and just thinking about, I can go down, or I can save these 5 or 10 people in this building that work with me, or in this same building as me, and die myself, which it's hard to not put it in a manner of numbers, especially when it gets to stuff like war, which I slightly understand more now why we are at war there in Afghanistan, at least. I don't know. And a little bit Iraq, but I understand more why we're there. I'm still not a huge supporter, but I understand why we're there. And it makes me glad that America is what it is, and I that's really all I can say, mostly because I'll run out of time. But bye, YouTube.